Hey there, drone fans. Rick here again from Drone Valley. In today's clip, I'd like to show you 10 of my favorite accessories for the DJI Mavic Mini. Now, anytime a new drone like this is released, the third-party accessory companies kick in overdrive and start flooding the market with accessories that they think you need. And in some cases, those accessories are good. They actually will work with your quad pretty well and you use them an awful lot. But more often than not, you'll see something on a website that looks really cool. You'll buy it, bring it home, find out that you use it once or twice. It ends up on a shelf and you've wasted money. So what we like to do is anytime we get a new quad, we immediately start searching for all the new accessories that have been released. We'll buy a bunch of them, we'll bring them in, and then we'll test them over a couple of weeks with the quad when we're out flying. And we put them through a torture test out in the field to make sure, number one, they can do what the manufacturer claims they can do, but more importantly, are they durable and do they add value to our flying experience? So all 10 of these accessories I'm going to talk about today are ones that are in my kit whenever I go out to fly, and I really find value in all of these. And I've divided them into two categories. On this side of the table, I've got 5 accessories that I consider must-have accessories. These are ones that any new flyer that asks me, I'm going to buy some new accessories, what should I add to my kit? These 5 are always on that list. I feel that these are the ones that would really make it a little safer, a little bit more fun to fly my quad. On this side of the table, I have 5 more accessories that I consider nice to have accessories. Now, you can debate whether one belongs in the other category or not, but all 10 of these are ones that I use on a regular basis, but I thought I'd divide them up. If you can only buy 5, start with these, and then these 5 would be good to add later on. And what I'd like to do in the clip, because I don't want to make this a 2-hour clip, is I'll talk briefly about each of the accessories individually, explain what they are, what they do, and why I put them in my kit, what value they add to the actual experience of flying. And then I've got links below where you can go check them out if you need more information. I promise you some of these I've done extensive reviews on already. Others I'm going to do reviews in the coming weeks. So if you have questions about any of these, drop them in the comments below and I'll get back to you as quickly as I can. So let's get started. So the 5 must-have accessories, the most important of all of those is what I'll call a landing gear kit. And I've talked about smaller quads like this on a ton of clips on the channel before. I love the fact that the Mavic Mini is a tiny quad, but one of the downsides of having a small quad like that is that because of the size of the quad, the clearance below it is really, really small. So you can see that the camera's almost touching the ground there, and that concerns me. Now, if you're hand catching and hand launching, that's not that big a deal, but every now and then you want to land your quad. But for me, I definitely wanted to add a little bit of height to the quad. So I've actually got a landing gear kit mounted on there right now. This one's small enough that you can actually fold the quad up and you can put it back in your case with it on there. You don't have to take it off, but when you want to use it, you'll fold down the front legs, they snap into position, and you'll fold down the back legs like this. Then you can see immediately how much more height you've got. And that's really important if you're going to land this on soft dirt, tall grass, or even if you're landing it on macadam. The prop wash is going to kick up all kinds of dust and debris that's going to get up inside the camera and the gimbal assembly. Having a little extra height just gives you that peace of mind you're not going to impact that. I also love the fact that I can fold this up and keep them on there. A lot of the kits we tested, you had to take off every time, or maybe they fell off when you were flying. Some of them were really bad. So we like this kit an awful lot. It matches the colors of the quad, and it just gives me that extra peace of mind. It does add a little bit of weight. It's about 2.5 ounces of weight, so it puts you over the 249, but for me, it's definitely something I want to have on my quad. All right, the second thing I want to talk about is a range extender for the remote controller. Now, I've talked about these for all the other quads we've flown. It's a parabolic range extender. It's really small, really easy to slip into your kit, and essentially what you'll do is fold it out like that and slide it over the antennas away from you. Don't face it so it's curved towards you. Face the curve away from you. And what this does essentially is it's a parabolic range extender. It's got the parabolic effect there. These antennas on the top create this 360-degree radiation pattern, which means some of that is coming back towards you. By having the parabolic reflectors on there, it's taking all the signal that would be coming back towards you and throwing it downfield. So it's not amplifying the signal, but it's taking more of the active signal and sending it down to where the quad is downfield. And these are not, terribly directional. A lot of people ask, well, gee, doesn't that give you like a laser point of focus for that signal? It doesn't. It's about 120-degree field of vision. So as you turn, as long as you're pretty much in the cardinal point of the compass, like if you're 90 degrees, you're going to get it. So 120 degrees of radiation downfield. And what these will do for you is really increase your signal strength. Now, it's not going to let you fly twice as far, but because it's based on a modified Wi-Fi, you want to make sure all that valuable signal is heading down towards the quad and making that connection. So testing these extensively in all the quads we've tested them on, I'm finding about a 50% signal increase on these, which means when I'm in crowded environments around buildings or trees, or maybe there's a lot of Wi-Fi noise, these really ensure that I've got a strong signal to that quad. They're inexpensive, they're easy to use, and when you're done for the day, just fold them up like that, throw them back in your kit, and you're good to go. So there's no modifying the remote controller or anything else. The third thing I'm going to talk about is an extension cable for the controller. If you're using the controller with a phone in the bottom, you'll plug the cable that came with it here. It'll slide down inside the handle and connect up to your phone down there. The challenge is if you have a bigger phone, or maybe you're using a tablet like an iPad mini 4, the connection won't reach. It's not long enough to reach. So we came out with this customized cable that's got a micro USB on this end that plugs in. The other end has, in this case, it's a USB-C, but it could be anything. Could be an Apple, could be USB-C or micro, depending on what you need. We have all three versions available, and this allows you to plug into the side of your tablet. It's also really good if you're using a tablet adapter above it. Some of the bigger tablet adapters will put your tablet up here. You can easily plug it in up top. So that's a really nice little accessory to have. And I actually use that with my phone with a case on it, even though I could use that connector on the side. This is a little bit deeper here that can get through some of those thicker cases, so it just gives you an easier way to connect up. All right, the next thing I want to talk about is the car charger. Now, this is a Drone Valley product as well. Essentially, what we've built here is a 45-watt car charger that's got both a USB-A connection on it and a USB-C connection on it. What makes this so magical is that it does both QC 3.0 and PD. Now, this drone fast charges over PD, so if you use this in your car, it's 45 watts. You'll plug in the cable to this side or that side, connect it up to your drone, and you can fast charge your drone. It's also powerful enough that if you're using the multi-battery charging hub, you can fast charge in that as well. So it's a really, really handy one. What I like so much about it too, and again, we designed this from the ground up to be sort of ahead of the curve, a lot of other chargers out there, is that it works for both Android and Apple. So we've got QC3 and it's got PD on it, so you can charge your drone. At the same time, you can charge your phone, your tablet, your controller, whatever else out of that second controller. Really easy to use, really small, and that, again, is a Drone Valley product. All right, the last thing I want to talk about are LiPo bags. Now, I've talked a lot on the channel about the dangers of LiPo batteries. You got to be really careful with them. If you nick the battery, there can be this chemical reaction inside that can burst into flames, spontaneously combust. So what these LiPo battery bags do is, number one, they're fire retardant. So if you get the battery inside there, and heaven forbid something terrible happens with the battery and it goes non-linear, it's going to contain that to a certain extent. But more importantly, if you're traveling with a battery loose like this in the back of your car, pretty good chance you're going to get dings on the side of it, or maybe even worse, you're going to get fuzz and debris up inside the connections. By having these battery bags, you can slide it inside there, throw this in your case, your backpack, or even in the back of your car, and know that the battery's protected. If something does happen, it's contained inside that bag and you're in really good shape. So we have these available for single batteries or dual batteries. You can make the choice between them. Again, all of these accessories are not that expensive to add to your kit, and they really do enhance your flying experience. So those are all the must-have accessories I wanted to talk about. Now I'll move into the nice-to-have accessories, and these are a little bit more interesting, but they're not something that you need to add day one, but they are things that will really help you when you're flying. The first one is a multi-headed charging cable, and this is another Drone Valley product we designed. Essentially what you get here is a USB-A connection on this end that you can use with any standard charger. On the other end, we've got three adapters, three different connections. Two of these are micro USB. So what that means is with one charger, I can charge my drone, my controller, or I can charge my drone and my battery bank. And the third one is a USB-C connection. So you can use that to charge your phone. And if you're not using a phone with a USB-C connection on it, we also include an Apple adapter and a micro USB adapter that pop on the end of this USB-C. So you can charge, for example, an Apple product, your drone, and maybe your batteries or your controller with the other one. Now, this won't fast charge just based on the nature of three heads, but plugging this into a single charger allows you to charge a bunch of stuff at the same time in a really quick fashion. I use it a lot with my car charger when I'm traveling. All right, the next thing I want to talk about are the motor covers. Now, I've got these already installed on my quad. I'll do a close-up of this so you can see it a little bit better. But essentially what you get are these aluminum motor covers that fit over the top of the motors. The reason those are important is because if you're flying, there's going to be debris in the air, and that's going to get on those motors. It's going to fall down inside the windings. If it's raining or there's any kind of mist out there, that's going to get on the windings. That's not good. These completely cover that and make it weatherproof. So there's something I use on my quad all the time. I think it's a really nice little attachment. They go on really easy. A couple of screws, you put them on, and they're protecting your motors underneath. Plenty of ventilation in there, not to worry about getting hot. All right, in addition to that, I wanted to talk about the sun shield, which is something else that we're using on the drone. So right now I've got the lock on it. Here's the sun shield. Basically what the sun shield does is it acts like a little miniature baseball cap. So when you put this thing on your quad, let me just get it on there right. I got it on backwards. When you pop this on the quad, it just snaps on the front like that. You can see that what it does is sort of protect your camera. It gives you this sort of blinders on the side and blinders above below it. So you've got like a baseball cap where it's looking out, and if there's sun to either side of you, it's not going to wash across your lens and sort of, you know, flare out your video. It's a really good thing to add. It'll fit on the quad. You can power up the quad with it on there. It's going to go through its power on self-test to move the camera and not impact it. It also doesn't restrict your movements either side or up or down. But for me, that's a really easy way to sort of make sure you're getting the best possible picture. It's sort of like what you'd use on a DSLR when you're out shooting in the outdoor environments. And it pops on really easy. You can pop it off really easy and put the gimbal lock back on it. All right, the next thing I want to mention is the prop stabilizer. This is something I like an awful lot when I'm putting my quad away, because one of the challenges with these smaller quads is that the props are always at risk. So when you fold it up, you've got these props flopping around there. And if you throw it in the backpack and these get pulled out or bent like that, you can crack them, or you can crack the motors, which is even a bigger deal. So what this prop stabilizer does is allow you to sort of flip it over. You'll slide the two bottom props into the slot like that. And then once those are in there, you can flip it over the other way like this. And you can fold those two props in. Then basically you'll close this buckle, and then it holds off all props in place. Now, the advantage to this, and I know there's a couple other models out there, DJI's got one on their website, but the reason this one's different is because, number one, it's less expensive, but more importantly, it's small enough that if you have that Mavic Mini Fly More kit, this will stay on. You can put it right back in the kit, whereas the DJI one is just too big, I think, to fit in that kit. So we like this one an awful lot. Again, inexpensive, but it does protect your props, and you can see that with those props are locked in there nice and tight. They're not going anywhere. All right, the last thing I want to talk about is a landing mat, and I use this landing mat every time I land and take off. And I know if you're a hand catcher and a hand launcher, you're thinking, why do I need a landing mat? I would recommend a landing mat even if you do hand launch and hand catch, because if you put a quad up, let's say it gets really windy when you're flying, you got to land that quad. So not having a place that's dry and safe and flat means that you've got to land it somewhere else, that you've got to quickly find a place to go. This also lets other people around you know that you're flying a quad. Now, this is going to flip open and go crazy in a second, but essentially what this is a nice round 75 centimeter landing mat with a steel ring on the outside. So when I open it up, it's going to pop open like that, and it's going to maintain its shape. Where a lot of the landing mats are just sort of nylon or cloth, you throw them down, they flip up, corners flip up. This thing is really going to stay in its shape, and it's got two sides. It's got the blue side, and there's an orange side underneath. But in essence, what this will do for you is provide a really nice landing area for you to take off and land, and it's big enough for if you're flying a bigger quad, you can use it as well. Because again, I know you can hand launch and hand catch, but for me personally, I think one of the most basic skills you can acquire as a pilot is taking off and landing your quad. And for me, it's kind of a fun way to end my flight. So if I'm flying all day, I'm really having a good time up there in the air. The fun part is, how close can I get to landing it on the H when it comes back? So it's a really nice way to end the flight. But the landing mat's really important. And again, it also lets people know that you're flying in the area. Sort of like if you were a diver and you put a diver flag up when you're in the water, this lets people know that there's a quad up in the air. So I like the landing mat a lot. And that's something that I would recommend adding to your kit. And that's pretty much it. Now, I know I've taken a little bit of time to go through each of these. Some of these, again, I've got more extensive clips showing you how to use them, how to assemble them, and check those clips out. But definitely ask me questions if you need to on any of these accessories, because I love flying this Mavic Mini, and I use all these accessories on a regular basis, and I find that they really help to enhance the flying experience, and that's something I'm really after. So hopefully you found this clip helpful. I love doing these kind of tests, and we've been spending about 2 months with each of these accessories out in the field, and I know there's a lot of other brands out there, a lot of other places you can find them. All of them are available on our website, and as I say every time, you probably can find them in a million places across the web, but if you buy them from us, you're supporting the channel, and we'll be here in case you ever have questions later on or problems with the product. We'll be there to back you up. So that's pretty much it for today. Thanks an awful lot for watching. I hope you guys are enjoying these clips. Until next time, happy flying.